Well, Eric, for your group, obviously, the story is kind of on losing Sed and having to try to find that number one guy. And I know you said at the thing at Big Al's, it'll be somebody. We'll find somebody. I mean, how do you feel about just going into camp and hopefully trying to find a guy that can make up some of that production?
I'm actually really excited. I really am. It's going to be a very new group, a lot of new faces, a lot of new abilities. So it's going to be for the first time. I was telling these guys a while back is the first time in a while where I'm truly intrigued to kind of see how this whole group pans out, athletically on the field, personality-wise, just their chemistry working together, because there are so many new faces. So who's going to step up and be that production guy? Don't know yet. You hope it would be a guy that's been here in the past, but if it's not, it's one of the new guys, they step in and can do it, then that's great. But it's the most important thing for us is that we get 6 or 7 guys, a good core unit, and then we can kind of get the production distributed where we need to get it to.
Were you the happiest guy in the building when you heard about the redshirt rule, or how do you?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to change things. The dynamics of that rule now. I think the biggest thing is it's going to keep every player on your roster on the edge of their seat. Because before we said, hey, player ABC, you're in a redshirt, they may have maybe tuned off a little bit, said, I want to be down on the scout team. Well, now they can't, because you've got to work hard every day practice and grind to get better, and you might be down on the scout team, and you might be pulled up to play or to travel and be ready to go. So I think it's going to be great. I think it's a great rule. I like it. We'll see how it plays out this year, but it's going to be good. It's going to create competition throughout the entire year.
I mean, for you, with 5 newcomers and 2, 3, 4 of them are probably going to have to play. I mean, to not have to make that call on August 30th or whatever, I mean, how nice is that? 100%.
So if you have one of the new guys coming in, they're going through fall camp and they're progressing slowly, you say, hey, coach, we might need 2 or 3 more weeks. Well, keep developing him. He might be ready game 4. Then he can play him a couple games. Oh, it didn't work out. Oh, then you still redshirt him. It gives you a lot of leeway there, and I think you can use it to your advantage if it's done right.
Of those 5 newcomers, are you guys that you're pretty confident will help you guys out this year?
I really have no idea. Because in recruiting it's great. What they did at their previous spot is great. But the bottom line is how they do here on the blue and how they do for us, how they adjust to our system and our philosophy and our chemistry with the guys on the team. And of those 5, I'm not sure who it's going to be. And that's what's so exciting about practice. That's what's exciting about going to these meetings. That's what's great about fall camp is you get to kind of watch these guys compete. And some guys will rise to the top, some guys will compete, some guys won't. And we'll figure that out here in the next couple weeks.
How many do these, I know it's kind of weird because of the 4 games, but in terms of the actual rotation that you think will get, continue, I guess, regular playing time or whatever, how many of those 5 do you think you'll need to call, you'll need?
You never know. I mean, you never really know. It's, you never want to limit yourself or pigeonhole yourself into an X amount of numbers, because I can say I want 2, but then if all 4 or 5 do well, let them all play.
Sure.
Is that realistic? I don't know.
Yeah.
So in your mind that you'd like to have 2, potentially 3.
Okay. So we have 6 or 7 total usually in rotation, or what's kind of the number you try?
Yeah, 6 or 7. So I tell my guys, like, you're going to play X, you're going to play H, you're going to play Z, but that doesn't mean that's where you play. I'm putting you in a position, I basically say you're getting in the line to compete for a job. And at the end of fall camp, if there's the top 6 or 7 guys, those guys playing and those guys travel, and that's kind of your unit for that year.
Okay.
But now, the great thing about it is now you've got to keep guys 7, 8, 9 kind of lukewarm ready to go, because he can be ready, and 6 isn't doing well, then boom, 9's in there. So that's what it's a little bit of fluid depth chart because of the new rule.
Those 2 freshmen last year, I mean, you talked a lot about just how hard it is to go from high school to being a true freshman and playing right away. I mean, for both of them to contribute and do what they did, how much better do you expect and kind of hope they'll be this year?
They'll make a huge jump from year 1 to year 2, because it's easy to see what they do on paper and see what they do in practice, but you have the actual game experience, even away stadiums, being on the road, how you manage yourself, how you handle academics, how the whole transition of happening. What they learned as their first year 2 will be so much easier for them because they've been through it. So you'll see them jump hopefully a lot from year 1 to year 2. Then you add AJ and Sean Monster, 2 older guys into that mix. Bring some of these young guys along, and that's where you could have a nice little core unit of your 6 or 7.
That first 4, I mean, of the guys that are returning, I mean, they don't jump off the page in terms of stats, but I mean, do you feel like that 4 is a group you can build around?
Oh, 100%, absolutely. And they all have different strengths, and that's the cool thing about it, is they're not all just tall, slow guys. They're not all little, fast guys. It's a good mix and a variety of the skill set you have. And then you have the new guys, which is the same thing. They're all very different in their own way. So collectively, we'll come up with a good group.
Octavius just kind of showed in the spring he can be that red zone threat and stuff. I mean, is he kind of in terms of size and stuff and experience and that combination, is he a guy that you see having a role down there when you hit the goal line?
100%, absolutely. he'll be one of the guys I'm talking about that jumped big from year 1 to year 2. You saw it in spring, and hopefully we'll see it here in fall camp and in the season. But I would definitely look forward to seeing Octavius out there a lot.
You're talking a lot about those two guys and all the newcomers that everyone's talking about. But you still have a couple seniors that you're going to really need this year. I mean, like I said, maybe people don't get excited because the stats don't jump off the page. But I mean, what do you see from, I guess, individually Sean and then AJ? Just that those guys are, I don't know if they're forgotten, but it does seem like maybe they're not getting the talk they deserve coming into the year.
Well, I think, like you said, we've been talking so much about the new guys coming in and the excitement of those guys and where you see them panning out and how many are going to play. All the questions kind of directed at those guys, but I would never discount what AJ and Sean Monster bring to this group, because they bring it all together. They are the ones that, because even though these guys are young and they're very talented, those are the guys teaching them what to do and how to do it, and they're not being. Some guys say, well, that guy's going to compete for my job and take my job. Those two guys are selfless. They're team guys. They help these kids in every way possible. So I think that's a part of leadership that kind of goes unnoticed. And then their experience in the field, their savviness, they're very calm, cool, collected on the field. That'll help this young group. So that's what I'm saying. Collectively as a group, their leadership and what we depend on them goes a long way than people think. And like I said, there's no stats, nothing flashy. It's their team chemistry, their leadership, and how they do things, and helping the team win the game. Because, I mean, there's been games last year where Monster maybe had 0 catches, but we won the game, and he's just as happy as everybody else in the locker room.
Sure.
And that's what you want. You want selfless guys, and that's what they are.
Now that you're, I guess, passing game coordinator, you also lose Jake Rowe, obviously. I mean, you look at the 2 of your top 3 receivers, and in particular Rowe is a kind of safety blanket for Brett. I mean, how do you look at the passing game in general and trying to find some of those guys that on 3rd and 7 you can find?
Well, I will say this: it's very easy to be able to do that job when you have a 4-year starter quarterback who knows where all the options are and where to distribute the ball and doesn't get locked into one guy, so to speak. So he helps. So I think it's more about not necessarily, hey, we got to get the ball to Sed Wilson, we got to get the ball to Jake Rowe. It's now like, hey, quarterback, just read the field, read the defenders, whatever the defense gives you, be smart and diligent about it and get the ball into the right guy's hands and let him make plays.
Do you think that can help if a QB doesn't have a, I don't want to say favorite receiver, but just in general where the field is more open?
100%. Because a lot of times you walk up, everything's equal, you're going to go to your guy. Well, now with everything's equal, you need to truly go through your read, truly go through your progression, make sure, hey, if it's not there, you check it down to the back. Mm-hmm. It makes you study the whole field and get the ball to where the correct read is, rather than your favorite target.
I mean, but he'll develop, and somebody will become his favorite target, right?
Sure.
I mean, but that's okay because as long as it's working.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I guess finally, just a lot of expectations put on this team going into the season. Ranked today in the coaches poll, and a lot of people saying, New Year's 6 or bust. I mean, how do you, as a team, as a staff, how are you guys kind of approaching this year? And at least from the outside, it looks like you have a chance to do something special this year.
Well, we just know, and we try to obviously block out the noise like everybody talks about, which is very true. And I'd say there's one thing about this place is we're just on a 1-week mission, and each week it's the opponent, whether that opponent is the Denver Broncos or if it's the Optimist youth team here in town. We don't care who we're playing. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of our preparation, 1 week at a time. Because if you start looking to how far in advance, or you get away from your process and how you do things and how you win games, then that's when you slip up, and that's when you have a problem. So with the veteran team we have, with the staff that's won a lot of football games, and just the culture of Boise State here, we just take a 1-week mission that's 1-0. All we care about is Troy. We don't look past that. A lot of people say that, but this place lives and breathes it, and they're all about it. So it's I think it's a great mantra. It's all of our locker room. It's part of our deal. We talk about it. Don't look too far ahead, because you look too far ahead, you're going to slip up. So just we just got to take care of us. That's how we prepare, how we practice, how we go out and execute, and we don't care who we're playing or what the logo on the helmet is.
I forgot to ask, this is the first year since Harsh has been here where there's been no changes on the offensive staff. Just to have, the play caller back for a second year, to have, just everybody in their kind of same roles and knowing each other. Overall offensively, 11-3, but some of the numbers offensively weren't up to what they usually are around here. I mean, do you feel like it's going to help having all you guys back in terms of the coaching staff this year?
Yeah, and I will say this, and I've said this for years. You can have a lot of yards and be 6-6. I'd much rather have 11 wins than a lot of yards. The bottom line, we work way too hard to worry about what our yard. And again, believe me, I'm aware of what's going on yards-wise. But at the end of the day, it's about winning football games.
Sure.
If we are 6-6 and we're number one in the country in first offense, no one's going to care about that. They're going to talk about 6-6. So it's really about the production and the wins, how you win football games as an offense, a defense, a special teams. Put this team together to win games on the go. That's the bottom line for us.
Yeah.